Marriage is meant to be built on love, respect, and compromise. But lately my wife, Emma, had turned our relationship into a battlefield. Every disagreement became a competition, one she had to win. One night, after an argument over something as trivial as me coming home late from work, she folded her arms, smirked, and said, "You know what? From now on, no intimacy. Let's see how you handle that." She said it like she was handing down a punishment. Her words cut deeper than she realized, not because of the act itself, but because she had turned love and closeness into a weapon. I didn't respond that night, not because I was defeated, but because I was formulating a plan. At first, I thought maybe she was bluffing, trying to scare me into apologizing or submitting. But as days passed, she stuck to her intimacy strike, flaunting it like she had discovered the ultimate tool of control. She walked around the house smugly, as if withholding affection proved she held all the power. Each night, she retreated to her side of the bed, phone in hand, scrolling endlessly while I stared at the ceiling. But what she didn't realize was that her so-called lesson was backfiring. She was teaching me something I didn't expect, something she hadn't planned for. I no longer wanted to fight for someone who used love as a bargaining chip. I chose not to beg, plead, or argue. Instead, I redirected my energy. I poured myself into work, started going back to the gym, and reconnected with old friends, the ones she had slowly distanced me from over the years. The void she thought would break me began to shrink. My confidence grew. The emotional distance between us widened, but instead of hurting, it felt like freedom. And Emma noticed. Her smirk faded when I stopped chasing her. One weekend, she dressed up for a night out with her friends. Leaning against the doorway, she said, "You're really quiet these days. Missing something, maybe?" She expected me to crack, to admit I needed her, to beg for things to go back to normal. Instead, I smiled and replied, "Actually, I'm doing just fine." That rattled her. For the first time, I saw doubt in her eyes. She wasn't the only one who could play this game. But unlike her, I wasn't playing to win. I was playing to break free. By the third week, she grew restless. She tried starting conversations, brushed casually against me in the kitchen, and brought up old memories that once made us laugh. But I had already begun building a wall, brick by brick, using her own weapon against her. She underestimated me. I realized something vital. If love can be withheld as punishment, it's not love at all. It's manipulation. Then came the breaking point. One evening, she stormed into the living room, clearly frustrated, and said, "Why aren't you reacting? You're supposed to care." Her voice cracked. I set down the book I was reading, looked her in the eye, and calmly said, "I do care, just not about games. If this is what you think marriage is, using affection as leverage, then maybe you don't deserve what I have to give." Silence followed. A long, heavy silence. For the first time, she realized she wasn't teaching me a lesson. I was teaching her one. The next day, I made my move. Instead of continuing this Cold War, I redefined the rules of our marriage. I sat her down at the dining table and placed a single envelope in front of her. Inside was a breakdown of financial responsibilities, household duties, and shared expenses. All the things I usually handled without complaint. Looking her in the eye, I said, "If you can declare a strike, so can I. From now on, I'm not funding a lifestyle where love is used as a weapon. You want control? Then take responsibility too." Her face paled as she read the contents. She hadn't seen this coming. To her, withholding intimacy was harmless, a little power play. She never expected I'd match her energy in a way that affected her comfort, her security, and her day-to-day life. She slammed the envelope shut. "You can't be serious," she said. I leaned back and calmly replied, "I've never been more serious. Marriage is about partnership, not punishment. If you won't give me respect, I don't owe you stability." The days that followed weren't easy for her. When bills arrived, I let her handle them. When her car needed servicing, I shrugged. "Handle it yourself." When she complained about the grocery budget, I reminded her, intimacy isn't the only thing that can go on strike. Slowly, the smugness disappeared from her face. She realized her actions had real consequences. What she thought was a clever power move had completely backfired. In the end, Emma broke. She apologized, not with empty words, but with tears and honesty. She admitted she never expected me to fight back like this. Never imagined I'd turn the tables so effectively. But for me, the choice was clear. I refused to live in a marriage where love was transactional. I told her, either we rebuild this marriage with respect, or we go our separate ways. That was the move she never anticipated, not just emotional, not just financial, but a decision that forced her to face the truth. For the first time in years, I wasn't the one chasing. And whether she stayed or walked away, one thing was certain. She would never forget the day her intimacy strike became her biggest mistake.